My name is Moleboheng Mutshweni. I work for Christian Council of Lesotho as a good governance coordinator. The Christian Council of Lesotho focuses on the issues of ecumenism, and it has a department on good governance, human rights and democracy. It has been really wonderful for me to participate here, especially for my learning experience and especially for our region in Southern Africa. Since now the CCL has held the Secretariat of GPEC, this has been quite an experience for me to be here, especially with the outcomes that we have discussed during the meeting. On the issues of democracy, I believe that the Southern Africa region has a chance to grow, especially when we encompass the outcomes of the meeting, such as the issues of improving our systems, regional network systems, and also trying to capacitate the early warning system for the issues of security and for protection of human rights. So it is also meaningful for me to participate here as the region of a person from the region of Southern Africa, because basically the upcoming meeting of the UN will also take into account our recommendations from this meeting, and perhaps we could be able to see the new direction on policies and come up with new approaches that would be relevant for the Southern African region in trying to overcome the issues of conflicts and also to model the way towards peacekeeping in our regions. There has been lots of issues, challenges in Southern Africa, challenges such as the issues of boundaries, the issues of armed conflicts, and so those are the issues which are very challenging, especially for Burundi, which is the current case right now. And it is all our challenges, because when one person suffers in our region, then we all get to suffer. We have lots of migrating people who are just seeking asylum in our countries, and so that is affecting our economy in a way and our freedom in the Southern African region. So if we could come up with policies and means and ways and approaches that are relevant to our region, that would be the most effective way to overcome issues of conflicts and also have new means of peacekeeping in our region.
Do you think that civil society can introduce solutions for conflicts in Africa?
Civil society plays a most important role in Southern Africa. However, there's still challenges of issues of cooperation and partnership between the civil society and the member states. So also, I guess, as part of the new approaches, we have to focus on the issue of branding. Branding is not just about the name, but opening those channels of communication that would help us to work together and have strong partnership with the government. And given the issue of post-2015 agenda focus, I believe that the CSOs have capacity to grow and to be stronger towards building democracy and governance in the region of Southern Africa.
Do you think that African governments interested enough in human rights and democracy?
Basically, I wouldn't say they are interested. What we are seeing as a trend in Africa is governments which are basically interested in their own agenda, but excluding the issues of human rights. People are suffering, whereas they are focusing in any other agenda other than the human rights of people. So the role of CSOs, like I said, it is really important, because that is the only thing that can enforce the government to be accountable and to really represent the interests of people instead of pursuing their own agendas of power and other things. Their focus right now is not really centered around the human rights, and I would say they don't care about what is happening. I would also say they don't care much about people, about whether people are suffering because of the conflicts that are happening. And of course, if you look at the trend, the heads of states are now the main source or drivers of conflicts in our region. It's either political issues or electoral, conflicts. But they overlook the issues of whether there's security for the citizens there and whether the rights of people are well kept.
African peoples suffering from poverty and basic needs. How can they interest in democracy and freedom?
That is when we have open channels of communication. Because even though people are poor, there are still means of living. Tapping into our natural resources, the African continent has most natural resources, but the direction in which they are used is what is the problem. It does not encompass every other human being. We are not able to tap into our own resources, whereas other people are enjoying the benefits of what we have on the ground. So our governments have to work together with people on the ground to make sure that the community benefits while even the investors are benefiting. However, people are still intimidated. Some governments are not so open, and people are not as free to express themselves and even to express their concerns. And it is even more challenging because even their views are not considered that much, which is why we have to have more advocacy and campaigns to make sure that governments consider people and they hear the voice of the people who are at the grassroots level instead of implementing their own agenda.
But you think the governments must satisfy the basic needs of African people at first? And
my thinking is they cannot all satisfy everybody, but at least they can come up with policies that would help them to implement towards the direction of human-centered, developments, which would allow even the most basic person to tap into those resources, like creating more opportunities of employment, and also creating maybe the micro-business projects, which would just capacitate people with skills, but we have not gone to school for.
Are you optimistic for the future of human rights in Africa?
Yes, I am. I believe there is chance for improvement in Africa, and in the near future, because now the civil societies are growing, and communities are beginning to realize what is their role and the participation in issues of governance. Then, therefore, it means it will not so be easy for governments to keep on doing what they've been doing, the old way. But now people will be able to speak up and stand for what is their own rights. Therefore, there is a chance that they will finally implement what is people-centered in the near future.
Thank you for this event.